Yo, what is going on, everybody? Shri Kanase here. So how I turned $500 into $265,000 within just about 4 months via Shopify Dropshipping. Now, in order to kind of make this video, I actually had to go down memory lane back into the year of 2017, which is when I officially started with my main winning Shopify store. Now, just a big disclaimer, before this winning website, I actually had 2 previous Shopify websites which completely failed. I made literally no money from those websites. In fact, I lost a few $100s with those websites. But keep in mind, I was completely new with those websites. I had no idea what dropshipping was, and there were not as much resources out there as there are now. But this video is going to be all about one specific store which basically started my journey and helped me become the dropshipper and e-commerce store owner that I am today, because without this entire journey I would have not gotten to where I am today. And not only am I going to be talking about how I started off with the store, whether it was a niche store, general store, etc., but also how I ran the ads and how I scaled with the profits that I made. So watch until the end. But let's just get right into it. The first thing you'll have to do in order to find any type of success from this video is to just destroy that like button down below until it turns blue. It'll take just 2 quick seconds. Okay, hopefully I've done that. But before actually going into the actual Google Doc, I want to take you guys to the actual Shopify store, which I'm talking about in this video. So this is the website right here. As you guys can see, not much going on now in this time period. However, this was the store which basically started out my journey, and it has been running since about 2017. Nowadays, I don't really pay much attention to this store because I have created another store which I mostly give my attention to. But we're looking right now at the time frame of October 1st to February 28th of 2017. Now, as you can see from this chart, a lot of this time period was pretty much blank because this is when I had not even started the Shopify store. I was in the planning phases of this store. So it was mostly planning the store, knowing exactly what niche to get into. And I wasn't really planning all the way from the beginning of October. This idea kind of popped into my head later on in about November and late December, basically. But as you guys can see, by December, I was already getting some sales with the Shopify store. In fact, I believe that I actually launched this store just to test things out in mid-October, and my first sale was actually on about October 19th. As you guys can see, I made a whopping $17.97 in sales on my first day. That was the most exciting day of my life because I was in high school still and I really had nothing going on for me when it comes to Shopify and the dropshipping world. So that was the first time I achieved any kind of success with the store. But flash forward to January, and as you guys can see, I was well into the thousands, making over $4,000, $5,000 per day in sales as a high school student. And this was really a crazy time period for me because this was the first time I was achieving any kinds of success. But this is again the store that I'll be talking about in this video. But now that I've gone over the exact website, let's go to the Google Doc to see exactly what I did in order to turn that $500 into $265,000, because right at the beginning of October when I started this store, I had only about $500 in my bank account because as a high school student, I didn't have much things to do. I didn't have a job, and all I was doing was selling on eBay old things from my home. And that was how I was able to even get that $500 in the first place. But once I started to kind of basically get some kinds of results with eBay, I dumped that money into just the Shopify website. And for this Shopify website, in case you're wondering what kind of store it was a broad niche approach, meaning I did choose a niche in the clothing and clothing accessories area, and I tried to make it niche down. So instead of just selling any random red t-shirt or black t-shirt, what I did is I found a niche that is related to clothing, and I decided to choose that. Of course, for security purposes, I'm not going to be revealing the niche because I do still run the store. But besides that, once I did choose a niche, for me, it was Instagram influencers all the way, simply because $500 would not have gotten me much results with Facebook. And I did throw some money here and there with Facebook during that time period when I was using these influencers. However, the results were not good enough, and I didn't really think it was ideal to continue with Facebook because I didn't have much of a budget. So what I did is I went on Instagram and I found those influencers which were niche related, or basically celebrities related to that niche. And I have tons of videos on how you can find influencers if you are just starting out. But that is exactly what I did in the beginning because I had no other option when it came to advertising because of my budget. But in addition to that, I use something called Facebook influencers as well, which is basically influencers that you would find on Instagram, but they have Facebook pages as well. And I use those Facebook influencers to get my ads out to the customer so people could see within that niche what I was selling. And if you're thinking about what product I found, how I even decided to test that product, it was just a random product from AliExpress within that niche, which had a lot of orders. And because it had a lot of orders, that was the only reason why I chose that. Otherwise, I would have not even chosen that. But I decided to choose that product. I tried Instagram influencers, Facebook influencers, and I did get a few sales here and there for that product, as well as some other necklaces on my website during that time period. In fact, the first order for $17 was for 3 necklaces. And when it comes to the website layout, a lot of people nowadays have confusion as to how they should lay out their website, what kind of pages they should have, etc. But for me, I followed a simple page layout, and I chose this website, which is coupleschoices.com, simply because this is also in the clothing and clothing accessories niche, but because I like their overall layout, I liked how the theme looked and everything related to that. So I decided to kind of mimic this layout, and it was very professional, very straightforward. As you guys can see, a lot of clothing stuff on this website, and the product pages are also very neat and very organized. So that made me want to choose this as my website to mimic. And when I say mimic, during that time period, I didn't really know any better. So I basically ended up copying this website. And because there were not as many dropshippers as there are today, that actually did end up working. As you guys can see, I did end up getting sales. But this is exactly what I did for the website layout. But that was not enough. Next comes advertising. Now, besides Instagram influencers, I did have to kind of broaden my scope once I did start to get some sales. As you guys can see in this chart, after that October 17th sale, I did start getting more consistent results. As you can see, some days I would make up to $60, some day I would make up to even $200. So there was much more consistency once I found that initial sale. Always, in my opinion, the first sale is the hardest. Once you get that first sale, things become very, very easy and very doable. So that is exactly what I noticed. And this kind of continued into December. This was the time period of when I was looking into Facebook ads. I was looking at as many videos as possible to basically know how to advertise on Facebook. So that's what I was doing during that time period. But when it comes to Facebook, what I basically did is the following. So I knew that I had gotten a lot of results from Instagram influencers because that is exactly what I was using to get my initial sale. So what I did is I jumped from using Instagram influencers to Facebook ads. And since I had all this data from all these purchases, I basically used my pixel and the purchase data to go ahead and then use lookalike audiences on Facebook. This may have been kind of too early to use these lookalike audiences because truthfully, I did not have that many orders during this time period. However, during that time, it was enough to kind of get some results with Facebook ads. That's when I basically started to get some sales here and there from Facebook towards mid to late December. As you guys can see, things became much more consistent, and even into early January, that's when things really took off. In addition to lookalike audiences, I was also doing interest targeting, targeting pages like I love and then the niche. So if you're in the hunting niche, you could try to find pages like I love hunting or hunters, etc., and go from there. I also did targeting for celebrity, so whoever was in my niche that was a celebrity and a lot of people knew, I directly targeted them. And I also targeted retail stores which are within my niche or selling niche related products that were similar to mine. And that's really worked as well. But these 3 main things really helped boost start my journey with Facebook ads during this time period and helped me turn that 500 into 265K. But one thing that a lot of people fail to do during this time is set up retargeting. Retargeting was the reason why my return on ad spend during this time was so high. In fact, I had over 30% profit margins after all expenses, including advertising costs, employee fees, etc. during this time period, simply because I was also doing retargeting and I was doing it heavily. Most people leave it out because they don't really know how to retarget properly. They don't have them set up correctly. So if you're unsure, I have a lot of videos of that on my channel, which you can check out. But one thing I didn't stop at is just Facebook, because that would have really killed this business very quickly. This business peaks late December and early January until about February because of its niche and the seasonality of the niche. So what I did is I also turned on Google ads and ran some basic ads for Google during this time period. Now keep in mind, I didn't really have much experience with Google ads during this time. So all I did is I had one testing campaign running at around $10 a day in the beginning with about a 30-cent bid. nowadays 30-cent bid is too low. If you're not sure how to even set up these campaigns, I have videos on that which you can check out. I'll even leave the links in the description, but I was running this at maximized clicks. And I noticed that the Google Ads campaign was actually doing fairly well for something I didn't even know how to do or handle. So I just let it run in the background at $10 a day. I didn't really want to focus too much attention on it because during this time, Facebook was what was getting me the most results. But again, I did not stop at just Google during this time period because I knew that I had to build a sustainable business and not just a business which depends on a specific season. So what I did is I started doing some SEO and some blog posting for this website. I used a lot of tools that were available for me in order to find these SEO keywords and also find these blogs that were ideal for my niche. So what I did is I used a website called similarweb.com. You can just go on similarweb.com and insert a website's URL, preferably your competitors, so you can find what keywords they're ranking for and then use those same exact keywords within your descriptions and titles. At least during this time period, that's exactly what I did in order to get results. But in addition, I was using the Google Keyword Planner tool in order to find these keywords. What I would do is I would write in one main keyword related to this niche and then try to find multiple different ones which are very similar to my niche. And at that point in time, again, I didn't really have much idea. So I just added random ones which I found via the Keyword Planner tool without doing much research into them. But this kind of led on to me doing a lot of posting on different types of blogs. So what I would do is I would go on Google and I would just type in my niche. So for example, again, if you're in hunting, you would type in hunting blog or hunting article, and that would lead you to these blogs which are hidden. What I would do is I would go on these blog posts and I would comment my website's URL on these posts and maybe type in some informative little comment if it was related to the article that I was on. And this kind of led me to get free traffic from these blogs because a lot of people from that niche read those blogs, and then that in turn leads to traffic to my website. So this is how I kind of built on this dropshipping website, from just doing Facebook ads and Instagram influencers to then doing SEO techniques and writing on other people's blogs. But this was the time when I really started making a lot of money. As you guys already saw, I'd already crossed 6 figures in just 4 months of starting the Shopify store. So the next point during this journey was actually looking at the profits, because as I said, profits were very high for this business because of all the things I was doing. So with the profits, all I did was invest back into the store. I hired a lot of people to make good video ads for this product. That was my main winning product. And in addition, that main winning product, a lot of my customers would make videos of and send back to me. So that really helped get the ball rolling. And this was a lot of additional proof for even more free sales, which I received because of this. But that is what I continued to do during that year of 2018 when I was running this store. And by the end of 2018, I had already crossed $450,000 with the Shopify store. But that is exactly how it turned about just $500 into $265,000 in a matter of a few months. It is definitely possible, even though there's a lot more competition now in 2021. But you just have to continue to use the techniques that I mentioned in my videos or any other techniques which you use, and be sure to be persistent with it, because without persistence, you will not be able to achieve any kind of success. If you found any type of value in this video, smash that like button and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.